The Middle Ages, a time of chivalry, grandeur, and knights tumbling off their horses like overgrown toddlers in tin cans. Nothing screams epic battle quite like the sound of clanging armor, followed by the unmistakable thud of a knight hitting the dirt, wondering if his squire packed enough band-aids for this humiliation. Truly the stuff of legends. The medieval knight, a symbol of bravery, honor, and apparently an uncanny ability to defy gravity in the most inconvenient ways. These warriors, clad in enough metal to build a small bridge, were the superheroes of their time, except their kryptonite was often a slippery patch of mud or a particularly enthusiastic swing of a lance. Yes, while history loves to romanticize knights as unstoppable forces of nature, the truth is far more entertaining. For every glorious charge into battle, there was at least one knight who discovered that staying atop a horse while wearing 60 pounds of armor is harder than it looks. Let's start with the obvious: medieval armor. While it was great at deflecting swords and arrows, it was less great at, say, flexibility. Imagine trying to do yoga in a refrigerator, and you'll get the idea. Knights were essentially human tanks, but with the mobility of a turtle on its back. Add a galloping horse into the mix, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Horses, bless their hearts, are not known for their ability to read the room. A sudden noise, a misstep, or just a bad day could send a knight's trusty steed into a panic, leaving Sir Lancelot to experience the medieval equivalent of a fender bender. Then there were the lances. The lance, a knight's best friend and worst enemy. Jousting was the medieval version of an extreme sport, where the goal was to knock your opponent off their horse while somehow managing to stay on yours. Spoiler alert, it didn't always work out. The sheer force of a lance strike could send a knight flying like a poorly aimed catapult stone. And let's not forget the classic lance gets stuck in the opponent's shield maneuver, which often resulted in the attacker being yanked off their horse in a move that would make even the most seasoned rodeo clown cringe. Of course, knights weren't just falling off horses in tournaments. Battlefields were also prime locations for gravity to flex its muscles. Picture this: a knight charges into battle, sword raised, ready to strike fear into the hearts of his enemies. But wait, what's that? A hidden ditch? A stray arrow spooking his horse? Or maybe just a patch of mud that looked suspiciously like solid ground? Whatever the cause, the result was the same: a knight eating dirt while his comrades tried not to laugh or get killed themselves. It's hard to maintain an air of invincibility when you're lying in a puddle, struggling to right yourself like an overturned beetle. But perhaps the most hilarious aspect of these medieval fails is how they were often glossed over in historical accounts. Chroniclers of the time were more interested in glorifying the noble deeds of knights than documenting their pratfalls. After all, it's hard to inspire future generations with tales of Sir Reginald the Unbalanced, who once fell off his horse 3 times in a single battle. Yet these moments of human frailty remind us that even the most revered figures in history were, well, human. And sometimes humans fall off horses. In the end, the image of the knight as an infallible warrior is as much a myth as the idea that medieval people thought the world was flat. Knights were brave, yes, but they were also prone to the same mishaps as the rest of us. So the next time you picture a medieval battle, don't just imagine the glory and the heroics. Picture the occasional knight flailing like a fish out of water as his horse trots off into the sunset without him. Because history isn't just about the wins, it's about the fails too. And let's be honest, the fails are way more fun to talk about.